Before I start the hiring process, I work out what shifts I've got available and what the necessary characteristics are. For example, for night shifts, a driver is preferred, but for day shifts, a driver is essential. Once I've done that, I'm able to update the job description and get the job advert out. When you're writing a job description, I don't think you're ever going to be able to capture everything that you need them to be able to do. So I try and focus on the non-negotiables. So things like a driving license is essential. Being comfortable around dogs is essential. Being happy to learn to give injections is essential. So those things make it onto the job description. But a lot of the rest of it will be things like personal and intimate care tasks as required, because I don't think you actually need to list everything out. So it's just really important to make sure that you've captured other tasks as required by the job.
Clear guidance on priorities, routines, and any non-negotiables are key in the first few days or weeks with an employer. Knowing how my employer likes to communicate, for example, whether they prefer written updates or quick chats, also helps me adapt quickly and work more efficiently.
So I always try and grasp from potential PAs things that they've liked or disliked about previous jobs, how they've handled emergency situations, and what their understanding of the PA-employer relationship would be. And that's partly because I want to capture sort of whether they're thoughtful and reflective, whether they're good at taking the initiative, and whether they're willing to understand those sort of personal boundaries for me. But it's not really in the questions I ask so much as just looking for those things in the answers they give. So while those are good things for me to ask about, ultimately, are they relating to it like a job interview with a potential employer is really important to me. Are they talking about past jobs in a way that isn't oversharing and breaking confidentiality?
Be clear about your expectations and communicate your preferences early on. Provide feedback constructively and acknowledge when things are going well. Positive reinforcement builds confidence and helps a PA feel valued. Openness and patience go a long way in creating a strong working partnership.
I tend to interview good candidates as they come along rather than waiting to do a round of interviews. And if I've had a good candidate, after interviewing, I will generally invite them to do paid training. This gives me a chance to suss them out and then me. They meet some of my other PAs, they do the training. If that works out, they then get offered some ad hoc shifts with no obligation on either side, just to be like, what's it actually like in the real world working together? And if that goes well, then they go onto the regular rota with scheduled shifts. But one of the things I'm working on for my next round of hiring is having a set of really clear modules. So, medication preparation, around the house, emergencies, paperwork, and having them really well documented. So it's a case of we've ticked off all of the things in that section as having been learnt and people kind of being confident in them. And I think that's a really big part of it, is making sure that as you train a new PA, you're getting their feedback on whether they're confident in the thing that they've just been trained in. And if they're not, that you're going over it again. Don't assume that just because you've explained it to them, they feel confident with it. If you're hiring a PA for the first time, don't rush it. Work out your job description, work out your plan for training, work out who they're going to learn from and what they're going to learn and how they're going to learn it. Because it's really easy to get off to a start, but if you get off to the wrong start, or you train something one way, or you set up a communication or a boundary norm, then when you try and change that, if they preferred the old version, they feel like they've lost something. So it's really important to start well and to train people the way that you want things from the beginning.
Starting with a new employer can be both exciting and a little nerve-wracking. What helps me feel comfortable early on is a friendly, open introduction, taking time to talk through how they like to work, what matters most to them, and any routines or preferences that shape their day. Feeling welcomed and supported in those first few days makes a big difference.
Personally, I try and keep my personal life and my PAs as separate as possible. I'm someone who really likes their emotional privacy. I'm also very conscious that it's easy to spend a lot of my social energy on my relationship with PAs and to fall into, catching up with them, chatting to them, sharing stuff with them, and then just not bothering to do that with my actual friends because I don't feel like I need to. So for me, it's a real priority to have that friendly but not friends relationship with PAs so that I can keep my social energy for my longer term friendships. I think one of the common mistakes people can make when starting with a new PA is not being really clear about how they want the relationship dynamic to work. So it starts off far too friendly and casual, and then when they need to correct something, then that becomes a huge issue. Whereas if you start it off in the relationship you want, and that could be a very friendly relationship, then you know that the rest of your communication is going to be in keeping with that relationship structure, rather than suddenly feeling like you're breaking it. Remember that even if you've not had a job before, or even if you've had a job for a long time, this is a professional job interview for them, and you can expect them to be professional, but they can also expect you to be professional. So that means actually that it's completely acceptable to be clear and direct about your needs and preferences. I think sometimes when things have fallen apart also, I've gotten into a negative communication spiral in which someone's done something which I found a bit irritating. So I've become a bit irritable with them, so they've become a bit unhappy and a bit miserable and a bit withdrawn, and I've become more miserable and more irritated and more critical, and you just end up in a really negative feedback loop. So one of the things I try to do is to, at various points during a shift, come up with something really positive and bright and cheerful to say, even if I'm not feeling it, because I actually think it's important to keep that vibe in the relationship. I think it helps PAs settle in and feel comfortable when they're able to have met several of my other PAs, and those PAs can have talked to them about me a bit, because ultimately I can only present one view on myself. But I've overheard a PA training another PA and saying, well, if you make a mistake, just tell Jamie and he'll help you figure out the solution and he won't be angry with you. So I think it really is feeling properly supported during the training process, not just by me, but also by other members of the team who they meet and work with. I think the thing about having the right PA is I don't need to think about their impact on my independence and my quality of life, because actually those are my own responsibility. And when I've got the right PA in place meeting my needs, then I can focus on doing the things I need to feel independent and to maintain my quality of life. It's that thing about having the right PA often means having a PA who is able to meet your needs invisibly and just leave you that space to lead your life on your own terms.
Be clear about expectations. Explain roles, hours, tasks and boundaries from day one. Use structured onboarding. Introduce routines step by step, including personal care and equipment. Provide written agreements. Contracts, hours, pay and responsibilities should be documented. Give early feedback. Praise what's going well and gently correct mistakes. Encourage questions. Create an environment where PAs feel safe to ask for clarification. Check understanding. Make sure PAs feel confident in routines and responsibilities. Set professional boundaries. Clarify expectations around timekeeping, confidentiality, and workplace behaviour.
Don't assume understanding. Avoid thinking a PA just knows what to do. Don't overload too quickly. Introduce routines at a manageable pace. Don't leave gaps in training. Skipping steps can lead to mistakes or unsafe practices. Don't be vague in expectations. Unclear instructions can cause confusion and frustration. Don't delay feedback. Address issues early rather than waiting for them to escalate. Don't ignore boundaries. Avoid letting informal arrangements compromise professionalism. Don't overlook paperwork. Contracts, rights and responsibilities must be clear and agreed upon.